Well, Doug and everyone, welcome to initial qualification training, upgrade training, and recurrent training, where again we're going to look at some approach to stalls. Now, there's been a lot of changes in industry, all going back to the Colgan Air accident, Air France 447, that's driven the FAA to make some regulatory changes, which is good news, but we're going to see some enhancements to our stall and upset training here at Alaska Airlines.
Okay.
The biggest change, long time in coming, was getting rid of the practical test standard that looks at minimum loss of altitude on a stall recovery. That was negative training before. We don't deal with that parameter anymore. For any stall or approach to stall training, the primary goal is reducing angle of attack, and altitude loss is not a consideration anymore.
Right.
So what we're going to see today is different scenarios. The first one we're going to see is the landing configuration approach to stall.
Okay.
Now, some of the changes the FAA will be making, we have about 5 years to go beyond approach to stall training to full aerodynamic stall training. Right now, our simulators are only good or only
valid?
They're only valid up to approach to stall, to
Right.
intermittent stick shaker. And the wing is still flying, it's still producing lift, yeah, although at a degraded fashion and with less margin in approach to stall. The models are perfectly adequate for that, but the FAA and the NTSB has looked at several accidents and they've seen that getting into full aerodynamic stall has much different aircraft behavior, and fortunately simulators will be able to do that in the future once they get to enhanced models, enhanced aerodynamic models.
Right.
Another change we're going to make is emphasizing not just maneuvers-based training, but scenario-based training. So the old thing like, Doug, this is your turn to do your approach to stall training, and then it's my turn. We actually used to memorize entries into approach to stalls and SOL flight. We're not worried about that anymore. We're just going to be focusing on stall prevention and stall recovery, and reducing angle of attack is the primary goal we're looking for. Now, we'll do the maneuver-based training, that's what we'll see today, but later on in the future, particularly in initial qual and recurrent training, we're going to have unannounced scenarios where the flight crew is going to be in their training, and whether it's an external event like a wind shear or a wind shift or a systems problem with the aircraft, it's going to drive it towards approach to stall unexpectedly.
And that can happen anywhere, like in the MV, during the first day in the MTs. The instructor will have the ability to put that somewhere where it'll make it a little bit more of a surprise. Is that true?
Absolutely. It should be a surprise, because any stall event that a line crew experiences on the line, it's always a surprise. They never intentionally do that. And we've seen some misattention or misfocus on stall recoveries. They overfocus on roll control, or they don't recognize the cues that precede the stall event.
Or rudders as well. Right?
Exactly. And also the FAA is now calling this stall event training, and we're really emphasizing prevention. So if we can prevent by recognizing the cues that precede a stall event, the recovery is exactly the same whether it's an approach to stall or a full aerodynamic stall. We're going to emphasize reducing angle of attack.
Okay.
So that's what we'll see today.
Sounds good.
So the configuration today is going to be gear down, flaps 40. We're a fairly heavy 800 coming into Seattle. We're a little above the glide slope. So once I turn this loose on the simulator, we'll go ahead and we'll fly down. We'll keep it on the autopilot, and when the thrust comes back to idle, we're going to turn the auto throttles off. So purposefully, just for today, we're going to see it propagate all the way to approach to stall. We're going to go beyond all these cues where normally we intervene, just so we see the appropriate cues leading up to this. So the stall recovery that you're going to be doing, Doug, first things first, it's going to be autopilot, auto throttles disconnect, and reduce nose pitch, your elevator's primary, reducing angle of attack. Nose down trim if necessary, and this can change with the autopilot on today and the thrust back. That stab is really going to be trimmed up nose up, so you're probably going to need some trim to arrest and reduce angle of attack as well. Okay, then it's going to be wings level, thrust as needed, because thrust will all the way back, so I'll have you come up to whatever thrust is needed, and speed brake, make sure it's down, and we'll recover to the desired flight path. And that's it. Just for training, we'll take it all the way to intermittent stick shaker. The wing's still flying.
Alrighty.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Here we go. Okay, Doug, we're coming down. We're cleared for ILS 16 center. Now the thrust is all the way back to idle. Let's go ahead and turn off the auto throttles just for the demonstration today. Glide slopes capture, we're going to set in 5,000 today for a non-standard.
5,000 is verified.
Okay. And we'll look at the speed cues here. Look at your acceleration caret. We're going into our min maneuver speed. And then we'll drive down all the way towards the intermittent stick shaker. You see the pitch limit indicators. We'll get a buffet alert and a low airspeed.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
PLIs come into view.
Yep. We're covered. Autopilot, auto throttle assist engage, nose down pitch. Trim as required, roll wings level. Thrust as needed.
Sync rate.
Speed brake is down. Avoid the secondary stall, very nice.
Okay, let's go around, Brian.
Okay,
Toga,
all right, you got it.
flaps 15.
15 selected. Positive rate,
Gear up, verify missed approach altitude, please.
5,000 is set.
Verified.
Seattle Tower, Alaska 101 is on a go around, stand by.
Flaps 5.
5 selected.
Flaps 1.
1 selected.